So isn't it great when we end up with a person that we're in love with? You feel you can take on the world when you feel loved and appreciated for who you actually are. But sometimes because of those rose-colored glasses that we have at the start of the relationship, we may have overlooked some clues that may have actually shown us that we're maybe not as compatible with our partner than we had previously thought. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a relationship and life coach with Creative Pathways Coaching, and today we're going to talk about relationship incompatibility. This tends to start to rear its head in the first year of a relationship, and it will generally provide the foundation of most of the problems in the relationship further down the track. When partners are continuously making each other wrong, this is usually the reason for it. Relationship incompatibility. Here are some examples of relationship compatibility. They're not all of them. To be able to tell you all of them would be a video that would take a number of hours. Number one, wanting different futures. So this is a fairly obvious one, but it's interesting how people get together despite the fact that it's very clear that they want different things in their future. This can be about wanting children, the other not wanting children, one person wanting to travel for the next couple of years, the other person wanting to continue to work in their job, in their town, that sort of stuff. Eventually a relationship like this will end. Either that or one partner will give in to the other's wants. But this relationship will eventually end because what happens is usually there's no compromise. And as a result, the person who gives up on what they want in their future usually then becomes resentful, thus causing a breakup further down the track. Number two, different levels of intimacy. When a couple have different expectations of the amount of time that they spend together and the quality of time that they spend together, this can be a serious issue over time. An example of this, and a very common example, is when a wife wants more quality time with her husband than the husband may want from her. As a result of this, the husband may feel more pressure to spend time with his wife. And this won't be quality time as a result. This will be more of an obligation, thus causing a bit of an effect in the relationship as a result. This can be worked on with lots of communication and compromise, but it needs to be identified early in the relationship to have the most positive and long-lasting effect as a result. When it's left to fester for quite a long time, the resentment can build up, and it's very hard to get rid of resentment once it has been built up in a relationship. Number three, their sex drive is either higher or lower than yours. There's no wrong amount of sex that you shouldn't or should have, but it's important that your partner and you have a very similar libido, and at the very least a plan to manage these differences. What if one partner sees an ideal as having sex every night, whereas the other partner may have having sex a couple of times a month? There is a vast difference there. When one partner is constantly initiating sex and the other is not and may be rejecting those advances, this will cause a lot of problems: crushed egos, resentment, hurt feelings, and emotional pressure on both sides. Number four, you're both on different sleep schedules. Now you think this would be a small problem, but it's not. It gets bigger with time. It seems small at the start. Say you're a night owl and a morning person. Now I used that example because it's one of my examples. I'm a night owl. I've learnt not to be with morning people. So in this example, you're going to run into a lot of problems. This is going to affect your sex life. It's going to affect your social life, many aspects there. When you're there, say as a night owl, you suddenly come to life at about 9 or 10 o'clock at night and your partner's just buggered off to bed. This is going to impact on your relationship, on your quality time, on your sex life. So you eventually will have problems down the track. Number five, they have different financial values to you. Now this one can be worked out with a lot of communication and compromise, so it actually has to be identified fairly quickly in the relationship in the beginning to start that. but there needs to be compromise and a great deal of communication and honesty. Now, we all have deeply held views on money and how to deal with money, and this comes usually from our parents or our caregivers when we were children. So lots of couples have different concepts of money and how to spend money. This is all about values and our own values in life, so it plays all into that. So we can all have different concepts of money, and it can be very hard to find some similarity in there when there's some vast differences between those views. Now, this one, again, as with the others, also needs communication to be worked through, identified and communicating. For some people, it can actually be very hard to talk about money. So it's something that needs to be addressed very quickly in the relationship and worked out, and have a plan as to what is the best way as a couple to spend and to earn money. Because if not, your clashing views of money will drive you apart. So these examples are but a few of relationship incompatibility. This can go on and extend to different ways of parenting, different views as to what it means to be faithful, different views about what is right and what is wrong in more grey situations. There is so much more. One of the ways you can start identifying your values and beliefs is to start to look at what your life should look like for you, or what you believe your life should look like, both now and into the future. This gives you a good indication of what your values, your needs, and your expectations are, both of yourself and where your life is going, or where you would like your life to go. So we all have this picture. This has been referred to before as a blueprint of what our life is supposed to look like. And this will give you an idea of what you have in regards to your expectations of yourself and expectations of others in your life. Can you identify your picture? It can be difficult, and it does require a bit of time to figure out for yourself what it really looks like for you to have an ideal life, or for you to be happy, or to have a happy life. When we aren't living this picture, human beings tend to do one of three things. Number one, they blame other people and sometimes even themselves. This, if it's themselves, it will look more like self-sabotage or even depression. The second one is that they continue to strive towards their picture regardless and continue on. The third one is they then adjust the picture, which actually can sometimes be the hardest one. But sometimes life circumstances make it that we actually have no other choice, that we are not ever going to have that picture. So as a result, we've got to adjust that picture. That can be, for example, say a woman has always wanted to have children, and she's gotten to 50 years old and she's never had a child. She could adjust that picture in that she could still be happy without children. Or she could look at other options such as fostering children. So before entering a relationship, you need to be aware of what your values and expectations are of yourself and your partner before you enter that relationship. That gives you and both your ability to communicate clarity with regards to this. And this is more likely to minimize the possibility of entering an incompatible relationship. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below for future content. I post a video every Wednesday morning. And if you have any comments of what I've spoken about today, or you've got any suggestions for future content, please pop it down in the comments section below. And remember, you can book a coaching session with me on my website, or you can catch me directly with my email. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.